So in this lecture, we'll discuss about the working principle of phase controlled converters. So phase controlled converters are also called as the controlled rectifiers. So they are basically AC to DC converters only. So the power transfer to the load is controlled by controlling the triggering angle of the devices. So these are the devices, that is semiconductor devices, which are used inside the converter circuit. And the triggering angle of such devices can be controlled by using a control circuit. So the input to the controlled rectifier is normally from the AC mains. So the output of the controlled rectifier is the adjustable DC voltage. So the power transfer to the load is completely regulated. So this is a circuit diagram for the phase controlled converter. Here AC supplies the input given to the controlled rectifier. So the output obtained across the load is a adjustable DC voltage. So the DC voltage can be adjusted by varying the triggering angle or firing angle of the semiconductor device. So alpha. So alpha is defined as a firing angle. Here this firing angle can be controlled by using the control circuit. So we'll see the applications of phase controlled converters. So it can be used in AC fed traction system using a DC traction motor, electrometallurgical and electrochemical processes, reactor controls, flexible speed industrial drives, battery chargers, high voltage DC transmission, uninterruptible power supply systems, etc. So now we'll see the classification of phase controlled converters. So these converters are broadly classified into two types, single phase converters and three phase converters. Again, the single phase converters are classified into half wave controlled converters and full wave controlled converters. Similarly, three phase converters are further classified into fully controlled converters and semi converters. So again, these full wave controlled converters under single phase converters are further classified into midpoint type converters and bridge type converters, depending upon the type of connections. Okay. So further, this bridge type converters are classified into semi converters and fully controlled bridge converters. So now we'll discuss the principle of operation. So for understanding the principle of operation, we are considering a half wave controlled rectifier with resistive load. So here the resistive load is assumed as a pure resistive load, and Vs is a supply voltage, single phase AC supply voltage given by Vm sin omega t. Vm is the peak value or maximum value of the supply voltage. Here T is the thyristor. So in general, thyristors are used in the phase controlled converters, and Vt is the voltage drop across the thyristor. So for understanding the principle, we now don't consider the voltage drop across the thyristor. Okay. So now during positive half cycle of the supply voltage, this terminal P is considered as positive with respect to this N. So now here this terminal P is connected to the anode terminal of the thyristor. So since the anode terminal is connected to positive during positive half cycle, so this thyristor is said to be in forward biased condition. Okay. So even when the thyristor is forward biased, it will not conduct. So it will be in the forward blocking mode. So until we give a proper gate pulse to this thyristor, it will not conduct. Okay, until we give a gate voltage, it is said to be in blocking condition. So no current will flow through the circuit. So once we have given a triggering pulse or gate pulse, so the thyristor will start conducting. So let us say that at a particular angle, that is during positive half cycle, that is anywhere in between 0 to pi. So we can apply gate pulse. So let us assume that at omega t is equal to alpha. So we are triggering the thyristor. So when the thyristor is triggered at an angle alpha, then this thyristor will start conducting. So it will act as a short circuit, and the current will start flowing through the circuit. So then the supply voltage will appear across the load. Okay. So we have assumed the load as a pure resistive load, and also we have assumed that there is a zero reactance on the source side. Okay, so the load voltage waveform is identical to that of the applied voltage waveform. So there will be a slight difference in the magnitude. That is, the magnitude of the load current is given by the magnitude of the voltage divided by the load resistance. Okay, so the load current will flow through the device until omega t is equal to pi. So at omega t is equal to pi, what will happen? The supply voltage will become 0. So as we all know that the AC supply voltage will start from 0, attains its maximum value at omega t is equal to 90 degree, and after that it will start decreasing and attains 0 at omega t is equal to pi or 180 degree. So due to this, the current will also become 0. So once the current flowing through the device will become 0, the device will get commutated naturally. So due to natural commutation, the thyristor will get turned off. So from alpha, okay, from alpha where we are triggering the device to omega t is equal to pi, the thyristor will conduct, and during this interval, the supply voltage will appear across the load. Okay. So now this angle, that is pi minus alpha, is equal to beta, is defined as a conduction angle. So by varying this conduction angle, by varying this firing angle alpha, the output voltage can be controlled. Okay. So now during the negative half of the supply, what will happen? The terminal P will become negative with respect to terminal N. As a result, the thyristor will become reverse biased. So during reverse bias condition, the thyristor will not conduct, and hence no voltage will appear across the load. So in the case of the half controlled converter, only during positive half cycle we will obtain the load voltage. So during negative half cycle, the load voltage will be 0. So next we'll see the waveform. So this is a supply voltage waveform. So as we all know that the AC supply voltage will start from 0, attains its maximum value at 90 degree. So after 90 degree it will start reducing and attains 0 at 180 degree. And again, so this is a negative half cycle. Okay. So in between 0 and 180 degree, that is during positive half cycle, the thyristor is forward biased and it can be triggered at anywhere. Triggered in between 0 and pi. Okay. So now we are triggering this thyristor at a particular angle, say alpha. So once the thyristor is triggered, it will start conducting. Okay. So this shaded portion, okay, this shaded portion of the supply voltage will appear across the load. So this is the voltage across the load. Okay. So since we are using a resistive load, the current will be in phase with the voltage. Okay. So both are identical in waveform. Okay, whereas the magnitude of the current is given by V0 divided by R. Okay. So and this is the voltage across the device, that is a thyristor. So during this interval, that is from 0 to alpha, the device is not conducting, and hence the supply voltage will appear across the device. So once the device is conducting, it will act as a short circuit or a closed switch. So no voltage will appear across the device. Now during this negative half cycle, the thyristor is reverse biased, and so no voltage will appear across the load, and the current is also 0. And this negative voltage will appear across the device. Okay. So next, during next cycle, this process will get repeated. So now only during positive half cycle we will obtain the load voltage. Hence it is called half wave controlled rectifier. Okay, this is a load voltage V0, this is a load current, and this is the voltage across the SCR. So next we will discuss the voltage and current relationships. So first we will see average load voltage VDC. So average load voltage can be derived by using analytical method. So suppose Vm is the peak value or maximum value of the input voltage. So then the average value of the output voltage is given by 1 by 2 pi. So this is the total time period. So 1 by 2 pi. Integral alpha to pi, this is the conduction angle. So that the device will be conducting from alpha to pi only. So integral alpha to pi Vm sin omega t d omega t. Okay. So taking Vm outside, we can write Vm by 2 pi. Integral of sin omega t d omega t is nothing but minus cos omega t over the limits alpha to pi. So now on substituting this limit, we get Vm by 2 pi into minus cos pi. Minus of minus will become plus. So plus cos alpha. So we know that cos pi is minus 1. So already we have minus here. So minus of minus 1 will be plus 1. So the average value of DC voltage will be equal to Vm by 2 pi into 1 plus cos alpha. Suppose if we substitute alpha is equal to 0. Okay. So then we will obtain the maximum value of the output voltage. So here if we substitute 0 value, then it will become 1 plus 1, 2. So 2 will get cancelled and the remaining term is Vm by pi. So this Vm by pi is nothing but the maximum value of the output voltage. Here by varying this alpha value, we can vary the load voltage. Average value of the load voltage can be varied by varying this alpha value. So next we'll see the average load current IDC. So average load current IDC is given by VDC divided by R. So already we have derived the average load voltage. So that is Vm by 2 pi into 1 plus cos alpha. So that term divided by R will give you IDC. So next RMS load voltage. So Vrms is given by under root of 1 by 2 pi integral alpha 2 pi Vm square sin square omega t d omega t. Okay. So now this sin square omega t can be written as 1 minus cos 2 omega t divided by 2. So now this 2 can be taken outside and this term can be written as Vm square by 4 pi. And we can divide this integration into 2. And so we can write under root Vm square by 4 pi. Integral first term is d omega t over the limits alpha to pi, and integral of alpha to pi cos 2 omega t d omega t. So this is the second term. So now on integration, we can take Vm square by 4 pi outside the root, so that can be written as Vm by 2 root pi. So the remaining terms under root. So first term integration of d omega t is nothing but omega t over the limits alpha to pi. So on substituting the limits, we'll get pi minus alpha minus integral of cos 2 omega t is nothing but sin 2 omega t divided by 2 over the limits alpha to pi. So now substituting the limit, we'll get Vm by 2 into root pi under root pi minus alpha plus sin 2 alpha by 2. So this is the RMS value of the load voltage. So next we'll see the RMS load current. So RMS load current is given by V0 RMS divided by R. So R is the load resistance. So next one is the form factor. So form factor is defined as a ratio of VRMS divided by VDC. Okay, this is the load voltage, RMS value of load voltage and average value of load voltage. So already we have derived VRMS and VDC. So VRMS is given by Vm by 2 root pi under root pi minus alpha plus sin 2 alpha by 2 whole divided by Vm by 2 pi into 1 plus cos alpha. So this is a form factor. So next, power delivered to the load P0 RMS is given by I0 square RMS into R value.